and last night's episode of Smackdown Live marks the last time the show will be aired on USA Network, but was it a lame duck? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at your Smackdown Live recap for 24th September 2019, the good, the bad and the damn right ugly, as well as your latest wrestling news which includes the Raw ratings report, a Stone Cold endorsement of Paul Heyman, 205 Live dead, Bray Wyatt to Smackdown Live, Mickie James' new role, an AEW Star Apologizes, and an MMA star is interested in WWE. Let's get straight into it, as Smackdown Live is coming to you from San Francisco, California, with Byron Saxton, Tom Phillips and Corey Graves calling the matches. Smackdown opens up with a video recap of the Bludgeon Brothers destroying Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan and anyone else who got in their way. Rowan is in the ring and says what everyone saw was a work of art. He's not an artist though, he's a creator, and what he creates demands respect. Daniel Bryan shows up and begs to differ, challenging Rowan to a match if he wants to respect. That match is up next and Rowan uses his strength and endurance to win the match, hitting the claw slam on Bryan for a huge win. After the match, Luke Harper joins the melee as Rowan goes for the announce table. Roman Reigns runs in and all four men start brawling, with the Bludgeon Brothers kept at bay. Roman checks on Bryan and offers his hand, but he dismisses the handshake. Bryan asks the fans to give him a one-word answer. Do they want to see him and Rowan kick the Bludgeon Brothers' asses? The crowd shouts yes. A hype video airs for Brock Lesnar in his match next week against WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. Michael Cole interviews Kofi Kingston, asking him why he accepted Brock's challenge. Kofi reminds Cole he said he'd be a fighting champion and he's not ready to give up the title just yet. Next up, another one-on-one match as Chad Gable takes on Mike Kanellis. Now Mike isn't getting paid by the hour, so it's a quick loss as he taps out to Gable's ankle lock. Elias appears on the Titantron and sings a song for Chad Gable, claiming he's been inspired by Gable's performance at the King of the Ring, including the following lyrics. The underdog has everyone inspired. If it were up to me, little people like you would be fired. No, I'm not gonna sing the song. But elsewhere, Charlotte is looking for her and asks R-Truth. Truth tells her she's on the run now that she's 48-7 champion. Carmella arrives as R-Truth accompanies her and Charlotte for the match against the Boss and Hug Connection. That match is up next and Carmella is the weak link, and despite a good effort, she taps out to the bank statement. Afterwards, Carmella hops on R-Truth to escape her would-be challengers for the 24/7 title. Meanwhile, Charlotte goes after Bayley, but she's attacked by Sasha. Becky Lynch runs in for the save and locks in the disarmer on Sasha, but Bayley pulls her to safety. After that, Shane and his legal team review Kevin Owens' legal papers, but thereafter we get another match, as Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura, who's with Sami Zayn, takes on Mustafa Ali in a non-title match. Ali looks to make history repeat itself against Nakamura, but Zayn's interference distracts Ali, allowing Nakamura to get the 1-2-3 after a Kinshasa. And after that, it's the new day of Biggie and Xavier Woods versus the B-Team. Both Dallas and Curtis Axel fall after the New Day defeat Dallas with the Midnight Hour, as a post-match celebration by the New Day. Backstage, Mandy Rose celebrates being on the cover of Maxim magazine. Just have an ice pack ready beside you. Heavy Machinery scores a selfie as Sonya Deville seems frustrated Rose is preoccupied with her magazine cover, and she's still a little too occupied as Fire and Desire go up against the Kabuki Warriors. The Kabuki Warriors return to SmackDown with a win as Kairi Sane drops an elbow on Rose for the win. Shane McMahon has a small army of attorneys with him as he calls out Kevin Owens, threatening to keep KO locked up in court for years unless he drops the lawsuit, pays his $100,000 fine, and only then will he be reinstated to the WWE. Owens has a better idea, a match between him and Shane. If Shane wins, KO is gone from the WWE for good. If Owens wins, however, Shane is fired. McMahon agrees and KO tells him it will be a ladder match. Backstage, Becky Lynch is interviewed about Sasha Banks, and the Boss shows up, ambushing Lynch and throwing her face into a fence. But that was a quick recap. What about the good, the bad, and the damn right ugly? Let's start off with the good as number 1, Elias still entertains. Elias's in-ring career is as shaky as ever, but his musical performance last night proved how entertaining he can be, with the WWE's resident singer/songwriter/jobber mocking Chad Gable in song. Elias is another wasted talent, but at least the WWE finds something entertaining for him to do outside the ring. Number 2, Eric the Impressive. We're so glad WWE has given Eric Rowan a chance on the blue brand to shine. Whether it's in promos or in matches, Rowan has delivered every single time. We have to admit we'd been sleeping on him for so long, not really knowing what qualities he had, but these last few weeks have given us a chance to see him in a different light, and boy, does he have it. Number 3. Charlotte the Tweener. Is she heel or face? Charlotte hasn't given away much as to whether she's still on the dark side or is going the way of the smiling-go-lucky babyface. She came to the aid of her longtime nemesis Becky Lynch on Raw and tagged with her face Carmella on Smackdown, but watch closely during the match and you can see that whilst Carmella is locked in the bank statement, Charlotte just watches on passively. She wasn't rooting her on to fight and reach the ropes or wanting to be tagged in, she just watched on. It's great storytelling and character development on the part of her and the WWE writers. And lastly, the Kabuki Warriors return. Ever since Asuka lost the Women's Championship to Charlotte Flair earlier this year, she was then seen as an afterthought on the blue brand. However, things look to have changed when the WWE introduced that she'd be teaming with Kairi Sane as the Kabuki Warriors. But again, WWE dropped the ball. They failed to win the Tag Team Championships on 2 occasions and haven't been seen for weeks. However, the duo made their return against Fire and Desire and got a good win. Hopefully this will be a turning point, but we're not going to hold our breath. But that was the good. What about the bad? There's number 1, and then there's Mike. Mike Kanellis is probably happy to be on television every week, but like many WWE superstars, his career is in a perpetual holding pattern, and like Elias, he's doing nothing more than providing comic relief while he jobs every week. Is it a waste of his talent? It seems so, but then again you have to look at the WWE roster, as it's rumoured to be the same size as WCW during the height of the Monday Night War. At the time, WCW had many wrestlers under contract who never even wrestled on television, making Wrestlelamia wonder whether anyone in the WWE has taken notice of this disturbing similarity. And number 2, a lame duck indeed. Fans wondering whether the last Smackdown on the USA Network would be a low-key event found out the answer to be a yes of some sorts, as there was the bare minimum of storyline advancement and little build-up for the move to Fox. Once again, the WWE called up some of the stars from main event in order to kill some time, making for a slightly meaningless show. When you want to give the fans a reason to tune into Fox next week, WWE? Thankfully, again, no ugly. Let's move on to the news as our first story looks at the Raw ratings report. The ratings for Raw are in and they're nothing the WWE should get excited about. PW Insider's Dave Shearer reports, faced with competition from the debuting broadcast fall season, the 23rd September edition of Raw brought in 2.21 million overnight viewers, down from last week's 2.272 million overnight viewers. Even though Monday Night Football had another dog of a game, they did 10,327 overnight viewers, which was well down from last week. Nonetheless, Raw's ratings didn't plummet with the new broadcast season when you look at how far they fell the first week of Monday Night Football. On the other hand, Dave Meltzer noted that it was the 8th smallest audience for Raw of the modern era. Clearly, the WWE's ratings problems haven't been fixed despite Raw putting on better shows since the arrival of Paul Heyman. Currently, the WWE's best hope is that AEW will spark a revival in wrestling with the mainstream viewing audience, possibly leading to an overall uptick in ratings for all promotions. Next up, a Stone Cold endorsement of Paul Heyman. Stone Cold Steve Austin seems to be a big fan of Paul Heyman's work on Raw, telling Sports Illustrated's Justin Barrasso that is the right guy for the job. Paul Lee has a vision of what the business should be. He is working under the watchful eye of Vince McMahon, but Vince is looking at so many big pictures, while Paul is going to focus on this. Paul Lee is really close to the pulse of the product. He understands where and why the business should be, and how it should feel. You should feel something when you watch the show. Paul Lee is hungry to bring back this industry into its heyday. There is already more of a sense of urgency and importance of the world title. Austin, who began working with Heyman back in their time together in WCW as part of the Dangerous Alliance, is right, but how much longer will Vince McMahon put up with Raw's trouble ratings before jumping the gun as he's repeatedly done in the past? Next up is 205 Live dead? Fans have been speculating on 205 Live's future, and PW Insider's Mike Johnson seems to believe it will continue, reporting, "The word making the rounds backstage at the Smackdown taping in San Francisco is that 205 Live will be shifted to Fridays at 10 PM on the WWE Network as of next week, Friday 4th October, so the plan is to still tape the series after Smackdown goes off the air." Next up, Bray Wyatt to Smackdown? Fox has thrown a lot of money at WWE, so it's no surprise they want the biggest stars on the brand, and one of them is Bray Wyatt. WrestleVotes tweeted, "Something nobody can deny, a person who works for Fox has already directly told me, face to face, they would like Bray Wyatt on Smackdown. However, it looks like he's going to remain on Raw, with Paul Heyman being a gigantic fan of his. Not confirmed, but we'll see." Next up, Mickie James's new role. Mickie James is just one of many WWE superstars on the injury list, but she seems to be making the most of her time away from the ring as she joined Vic Joseph and Dio Madden on commentary this week on Main Event. There's no word on whether this role is permanent or just a one-off. Next up, an AEW Star Apologizes. AEW star Nyla Rose recently came under scrutiny for a harsh tweet directed at a fan who mocked her for being transgender. Rose took to social media to apologize, stating, "I would like to apologize for my comment yesterday. I've always tried to take the high road and rise above/ignore the hateful/hurtful insults I receive daily. Unfortunately, I let some hateful comments get in the way of my better judgment. I believe that sometimes people forget that real people are on the other end of the screen. I replied in frustration and anger and didn't consider the people that it could affect and hurt. For that, I'm truly sorry." And our last story, a cyborg in wrestling. MMA star Chris Cyborg, who currently signed with the MMA group Bellator MMA, recently chatted about possibly stepping into a wrestling ring. "I love both AEW and WWE, and the fans of professional wrestling are always stopping me in the street, asking me when I'm gonna have a wrestling match. If the opportunity presents itself and the deal makes sense, I would love to challenge myself with pro wrestling. My focus right now is on becoming the only champion in MMA to win all 4 of the major world titles in the same weight class." But there you have it, guys, your Smackdown recap for the 24th September 2019 edition, as well as the good, the bad and the downright ugly, and the latest wrestling news. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.